Alright, it's Matt Mrozik, aka MV397, little tutorial for you. So I've had a lot of people ask me to do a quick tutorial or how-to on how to use pastels for shading. And when I do my Gundams or mechs, I don't use this technique. I do it all with an airbrush, but I have found that with the few figures I have done, pastels seems to be a little easier for me because I can really kind of just pinpoint little areas that I want to add highlight or shadow. Basically what I'm doing when I do this is I'm adding shadows to the figure and stuff, so, or adding some blush to the cheeks and stuff. So this is my 1/8 Sakura from Volks, and she's getting pretty close to being done. As you can see, I have the base is all done. The base was just a piece of black resin, but I painted it and gloss coated it with the U-Pol acrylic clear. Got the tree done last night. First I sprayed it black, then I dry brushed it with several warm tones to give it the bark, and I painted all the cherry blossoms and dry brushed those with some white, and those look really good. And so all her base coats are done. I have done some shading on the face with the airbrush, but I'm going to go in and with some pastels I'm going to give her some oh, this should balance. She's a little iffy sometimes. She's wanting to fall over first for some reason right now, probably because I'm on video. But anyway, I'm going to go in with some pastels. I'm going to put some rose on her cheeks, and that's really about it on her face. I don't want to, you know, being an anime character, I don't want to do a lot of hard shadows. But I'm going to go into the folds of the pants. I'm going to add some shading to the, there's a bow that goes on the back of her outfit right here. So I'm going to add some shadows to this and some shadows to the bow that goes on her hair. And we'll add some shadows to her, I don't know what the correct term is, this outfit. I'm going to call it a smock. I know it's not what it's called. And I know it's not a kimono, but whatever this outfit is that she's wearing with the pink. The other day, I went and I did I was going to do the pastels first and then do the decals, but then I was thinking, well, that doesn't make sense because these are supposed to be part of her clothing and they would have shadows also. So I went ahead and I added all the decals for these like flowers. And I'll do my then I sealed it with some dull coat. So you have to have you can't do this with a glossy surface. You have to have a dull surface or like a it won't even work with a semi-gloss because the pastels won't stick. It's similar to working with pigments. It has to have a certain texture to it in order for everything to stick. Make sure you have gloves on and your hands are clean. I see a few little areas where I got some fingerprints. I'm going to have to go in there with a Q-tip and try to take them off. So all you need is your model kit. I'm using 2000 grit sandpaper. I wouldn't go, you could probably do this with 1000 grit. I wouldn't go any lower than that personally because you want the pigments ground up as fine as possible. Now I'm using stick pigments and I'm just using sandpaper to grind them up, and these are Master's Touch Fine Studio. I got these at Hobby Lobby a long time ago. I think this was $13 for this set of 25, and these will last you a long time. They have larger sets, but it's just more colors. But I make my own colors with the pastel. So let's start off with her head first, and that's not even glued in yet, so I'm going to take it out. I just had it in there for show. I'll put her to the side, and all we're gonna do on her head is I'm going to add a little bit of pink to her cheeks. So I'm going to bring the camera over here and point straight down and show you what I'm doing. Just like that. So you need your sandpaper. You need whatever you're going to add your pastels to. You need some brushes. These are actually brand new. I've got a bunch of brushes to my left here, but I thought I'd start off with a new set to show you. And these are just Tamiya brushes. What you do want to do is make sure that after you've used your brushes for pastels or pigments, that's pretty much all they're good for. Just kind of make those your shading brushes. Size really doesn't matter. You know, it's basically you don't want to have too big of a brush. So you want to be able to control where these go. So the way I typically do is, like, especially for the cheeks, is I'll put a little dot of the pigment where I want it, so I know it's even, and then I'll blend it with the bigger brush. So since she's a very fair skinned person, I'm going to mix my own color. So I have like a flesh tone here, which is similar to what her face is. And I'm going to add a little bit of pink to it. So I could probably just go straight with this but I'm gonna add a little pink of it to give it just a little bit of rose. So I'm just gonna grind some up like this, and then we're gonna grind some pink up next to it. And this is where you can come in here and start mixing these colors. So basically you'll have three colors. You'll have the bright, you'll have that bright pink, and the color that you mix in the middle. So I'm going to just mix this until I get to where I think I want it. If it's a little too dark, I bring some more of the light in. And vice versa. Still looking a little too bright pink to me. So I think right about there. Let's see if I can zoom in. So I'm thinking right about this tone is what I want. Right there. So I basically just kind of brought these two together to where I wanted them until I got a color that I wanted. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and again, she's been sealed and dull coated and everything. And I'm going to put a dot of pigment right here. And it doesn't take much, just a little bit. And then I'm going to put a little another dot on the other cheek. When you're doing this, try not to breathe on it because you'll just blow your pigment away. So I'll make sure they're just kind of in the same general area on the face. So like that, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to take actually a slightly larger brush like this. Where is it? Right there. And I'm going to kind of, so right now they're just sitting on top. They're not actually embedded. And I'm just going to kind of push on it and kind of blend it in like this. You can always go back and add more. And we're just giving her a little bit of rose. It's very subtle. And actually it came off completely on the right side, so I'm going to go back and add some more. There we go. And I'm not sure if this is showing up in camera or not. So when you blow on it, you want to make sure your lips are not wet at all, because you will just spit on it and then you're screwed. So I'm not sure that's showing up. I can see it here. It's a very subtle rosiness to the cheeks. So I'm just basically kind of scrubbing this in to get it to sit into that dull coat. Again, it's very, very subtle. So we're just going to do this, just kind of highlight that cheekbone. And that's about it on her. So I'm just blowing away the excess when I do that. And I want them equal, so I need a little bit more on the right side here. Taking that middle color that I mixed up. There we go. I'm just going to feather it in, make it real subtle. So I'm not sure if that's really showing up, but I can, to my naked eye, these cheeks now have a slight pink tinge to them. And it has just a little character. Now her lips need to be pink too, so I may try to do that with a pigment real quick. If that doesn't work, I'll go back later with some watercolor and paint those in. But right now I'm just going to take some of this bright pink. See if I can't get her lips the color I want. This may or may not work, we'll see. We'll see. Worked a little bit. Actually, maybe just enough. I don't want... She's not wearing lipstick. It's just basically that actually may just be just enough. It's just to give a little definition to the lips. So what you want to do when you're done with this step is, in order to seal these, you want to top coat it one more time. And actually that's pretty good. I don't know if I was on camera, but her lips now have a little bit of pink to them. Just enough. Her cheeks are a little bit rosy. I did some earlier. I did some the way I'd airbrush. There's a slight shadow going on. Actually, what I'll do is no, I'm just gonna leave it alone. I'm not gonna, like I said, this is being an anime character. I don't want to go too drastic. So I'll seal this again once more with dull coat to seal that in. And then when that's dry, I'll go and I'll hand paint clear over the eyes so those have a shine. Okay, so that has pretty much done. Let's put that to the side. All right, now all this has been glued together. I'm gonna zoom out here. So this is all glued together, and I did that because when you spray parts with dull coat and you try to put them together later, sometimes the dull coat prevents the parts from going together easily. So because there's friction, so I have some touch-ups on here I've got to do. I'm not going to do a lot of shading under the dress. It's going to be primarily up here. So like for the red, we'll start with the bow because it's easier. It's easier to show you on that. I'm going to take a red stick, and I'm going to take a black stick, and we'll mix up my red. And I'll need a lot of this because there's a lot of area to cover. Oops. Turn off that. So one thing you'll notice with these really high grit sandpaper is that it clogs up pretty quickly when you're doing this. So just make sure you have enough around. And we're going to add some black to it. I'll probably use a pretty good size. Well, on the bow I'll use this medium brush, I think. And we're going to mix this up so I get a dark red. So this is not, again, like anything else with modeling, this really isn't difficult. You just got to take the time to do it. It's actually kind of making like a maroon color. And this color doesn't have to be really, really all the same throughout the clothing. It could vary because, you know, it's not all be in the same light. So don't worry about if you know the next time you mix it up it's a little darker or whatever, it's got more red in it, it's okay. All right, so this bow, I've already got my brush loaded up pretty good just from mixing. Let me zoom in again. We're going to go into the creases here, and I'm probably going to put quite a bit of pigment in there. So one thing you want to make sure is that whatever hand you're not using, so like I got a little bit of a red right there, just make sure that when you touch the kit that you don't have pigment on your fingers. And we're going to go right into the crease here. And I'm going to push down on it pretty good. Same here. And then I'm going to take this big brush I got right here and just kind of... Now what I did notice is that that's actually not a whole lot darker. So I'm going to add some more black. And I may just do straight black. We'll see. It's a good thing I'm starting with the bow, not the... There we go. Let's try that. So we're just gonna get some more light on it here. It's hard to see. It's adding a little bit of texture to it here. A little shape. Just wiping off the high spots. And just kind of blend it in there. So that adds a little bit of dimension there. Do it again over here. Blow off the excess. Kind of blend it in. Let's do the other side. So here I'm just going to really concentrate it where the crease is pretty deep. And I'll just take this all blended in. So we're not adding a lot of shadow, we're just adding a little bit. But this just gives things a little shape. I may go back later. We'll see how this looks after I seal it. And I may dry brush some highlights onto this. We'll see. Just a little bit at a time. It's getting there. Let's see, let's add a little bit to these other creases. Like that, just kind of painting it in. Blow it off. And feather it out. So you can see it's getting some shape. Now it's getting some shape to it. It's not so flat looking. So this is just another way of, instead of doing it with an airbrush, I'm just doing it with the pastels. And this is pretty subtle too. This is not real dramatic. It's just a soft, adding some soft shadows. What I do notice is that it's toning down my red overall a little bit, which is fine. It's pretty bright right now. That's looking pretty good, actually. Alright, so that bow's about done. It's not real dramatic. I can see it on camera here. When I seal this, when I go to dull color, it'll actually pop out a little bit more. So there's that. Now let's do this purple. I'll show you the purple. So for that, I'm going to take, again, purple. And some of this black. And just keep using the same brushes. Mix up a darker purple. And we'll go lay this in. Right here in the crevice. like that. And just add a shadow right there. Not sure if that's showing up on camera, but it's there. So again, it's subtle. And then we'll do one right down the middle here. Just feather it up. And just kind of blended him. So when you're doing this, get a nice bright light and kind of look at it from every direction, because you might see a brush stroke in there somewhere, and you definitely want to make sure that that is gone before you seal this up, because it will just exaggerate that brush stroke. So that's why I'm just kind of going, I get it in there and I just kind of do this. I just feather it a little bit. Okay, let's do this here. You won't see this because this is behind her, but we're going to do it anyway. Again, just get it on there and feather it out. Again, this is pretty subtle. We're going to go in here and do all these little creases. And then blend it out. Yeah, I think I'll probably go back and dry brush some highlights on these when I'm done. Let's give it a little more pop. You could probably do that with pastels, actually. I may try that while I'm here on camera. This video's coming up to 23 minutes, so I'm not going to do the whole kit. I'd be here for a couple hours, but you guys get the idea. But what I'll do is when I'm done with this bow here, I'll go ahead and do it with some highlights too, because you can do the same thing with highlights. Let's get this done, and you guys will get the idea, I think. It's just the same thing over and over again. The trick is just kind of, one of the tricks is make sure you mix up a color that works with what you're doing. So, you know, that's kind of a tricky part. So when I first put it on there, it's pretty dramatic, and then I just feather it out. All right. now, that's looking all right. It's got some of that pink pastel on my finger. Let's try adding a little bit of highlight to it real quick, because we're getting up to 30 minutes and this is it's going pretty long. So I'm going to do some purple and some white. I want a lot of white. Get most of it off, and we're just going to hit the highlights here. Just kind of dab it on a little bit. Get a blow. And now I'm actually going to get another brush out here. Because the other one has got dark on it. Just kind of blend it. But that gives it a nice little pop right there. Blow it off and blend it. So that's really it. It's just kind of going back and forth, adding highlights and shadows until you get the look you want. So this, I'm being very specific where I put this, and even though it's kind of getting down in the crevices, I'm not pushing on it, so it won't stick. So that's why I'm blowing it off before I blend it. You can kind of see it there in camera. It shows up better in person, but I think you guys get the idea. So that's really how I do my pastels. Again, it's not hard, but as you can see, I've been going for about 30 minutes here and I haven't gotten a whole lot done. So it's just time consuming. So if you're willing to put the time in to do it, you can get some pretty cool effects. And just kind of take your paint job to the next level. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. This is Matt Mrozik, aka MVM397, signing off. Catch you guys next time.